If you're a diehard car person, mopar nut mechanic, builder kind of person, you know that even though it is not racing season, heck, it's not even going outside season, that it's not doing nothing season. Slant 6 engine is not far from being a runner. The valves are adjusted. I got the manifold bolted on. The distributor is plugged in. The next thing that I wanted to do, I wanted to get a look inside. I have this transmission you see, it was a 3-on-the-tree transmission, and you can see back here, this flywheel, it's kind of junk. And I wasn't the biggest fan ever of the 3-on-the-tree. I mean, I can work with it. It's unique, but for performance, a 3-on-the-tree is not the way. I got this engine with this matching transmission. But the problem with that, okay, for future development, right, is if you're running an automatic transmission, you want to be able to buy a high-performance torque converter. And what it does is torque multiplication, and it lets you do burnouts, which you want to do if you're a car person. It's just fun. With this, not so much burnouts. Oh, okay, well, order yourself up, save up your pennies, and order yourself up a high-performance torque converter. Well, the problem with that is, up until 1967, the Slant 6s had a tiny, tiny hole in the back of the motor for the torque converter to index to. So there's a tiny, tiny snout on the torque converter that indexes to the Slant 6. And there's a smaller input shaft on the transmission, and they don't make performance torque converters for that. You would have to change out the crankshaft in that motor and then get a new input shaft in this transmission, which is silly. It's custom at that point, and custom means, bring out your bitcoins. There's really very limited upgrades that you're going to do to that package without really going in like whole hog with money that I just ain't got. The other thing that I've been tinkering with that you may have seen is a 318 from 1976. I've got a 4-barrel intake manifold for it. I've got a carburetor that bolts right on there. There's no appreciable ridge in there. The compression ratio is, I was looking into pistons, and they're about $500 for a set of pistons, and it's a lot of work. You got to pull the whole motor down, and their wrist pins will have to be pressed out, replaced with floater. There's a lot. It's a pretty good amount of work to make this like a higher compression engine. But if you know anything about Slant 6s, this here is a really nice, fresh Slant 6, and it's not going to have over 125 horsepower. And you could put a turbo on it, but there's a bunch of work too. I don't know. The 318 has stock about 225 horsepower, which 100 more horsepower is more. It's quite a bit. It's a lot more, And then with the 4-barrel intake manifold, that probably adds 3 or 4 horsepower. And then, if I wanted to get fancy, I could put that same turbo that I might put on that Slant 6. I could probably put that on this and make more horsepowers. Some of the things I would be missing in the car has K-member for the Slant 6, but we could probably finagle. I've got some of the mount. I think I could probably figure out how to make adjustments to the car's mounting system. But then the bell housing on a transmission is different. And wouldn't you know, people in December, they want to, rustle up some money to buy Christmas presents and do those kinds of things, keep the heat on. And so I was able to procure what appears to be, if a Sharpie cannot lie, then this is a low mileage shift kit 904 transmission with a small block bell housing. It's the Gooder spline count. This is the spline count. The hub in the rear of S318, the hub in the back of the motor there, are the size that they make like off the shelf, like Boss Hoss performance torque converters. This might be a heck of a package. And in my Dart, but then I'd need headers. I don't got headers, and I'd need exhaust. Slant 6 exhaust won't work. This has the, oh boy, the truck oil pan, and a car oil pan is more like a mid-sump. So I'd have to get an oil pan, engine mount, torque converter. If I really wanted real compression, I'd have to get like $500 pistons, but I could go this year, I could just stay kind of stock and just bump an extra 100 horsepower. Decisions, right? Both of these transmissions, you know, I got that transmission, they gave it to me with this motor before I rebuilt this motor. No, they were replacing that motor with a V8. So this transmission was useless to them. But that doesn't mean it was any good. And even if it was running, it doesn't mean it's good. I really feel like before I go all the work to put it in a car, I need to take it apart and just do some, like, you know, rough checks on my clutch packs and band adjustments and those kinds of things. It could be junk, and then I don't have another Slant 6 904, and why even mess with it up right now? I'll just do the 318, right? And then the same with this definitely all good except needs a band up for reverse transmission. You just don't know, right? They might have opened it up and checked it and decided it was trash and then hawked it to me for some cheap Christmas. But what am I going to do? Go and demand my money back? I'm like, it still could be a builder, but I'm not a transmission builder. So it could take me a lot of time, and I don't know if I want to get that deep into it. Maybe we'll say the next video is going to be about this one. That's why I got it sitting on the stand. That thing's making a bunch of heat for me. I'll show you. It's putting out the heat. Oh, I probably got to even turn it down a little bit there. So that's putting out lots of heat, but it's cold in the far end of the shop. But right next to this is good. So I got my workbench set up. I'm going to flip this over, pull the pan off, and check the reverse band and servo and see if there's an obvious problem. I think I have to pull the valve body down to even inspect it, but I don't know. I don't remember. You know, a new gasket, so they at least did have it apart, and they painted it. So that's like a Craigslist rebuild. That makes it worth more right there, but all right. So I'm going to pull that apart. Check out that video. Thanks for watching.